We want to acknowledge the Ramaytush Ohlone people who are the traditional custodians of this land. We pay our respect to the Ramaytush Ohlone elders, past, present, and future, who call this place, the San Francisco Peninsula, their home. We are proud to continue their tradition of coming together and growing as a community. We thank the Ramaytush Ohlone community for their stewardship and support, and we look forward to strengthening our ties as we continue our relationship of mutual respect and understanding. Please be seated. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for responding. I appreciate that. My name is Nikkei Blake, and I have the distinct honor today of serving as your mistress of ceremonies. I also happen to be the dean of the graduate division here at UCSF. Chancellor Hoggett, distinguished guests, graduates, faculty, family, friends. You know, the village. The village that are with us in this beautiful auditorium and those joining us on live stream, welcome to the 2024 UCSF's Graduate Division Commencement Ceremony. I love the fact that you need no prompting, so I hope that you will celebrate as vigorously as you dare throughout the event today. While the Graduate Division confers the PhD and master's degrees at UCSF, our students conduct their research within the departments of the 4 professional schools. As such, I want to thank the members of UCSF leadership team who are in attendance today and have joined us here on the platform. As I introduce each member, I ask that you stand to be acknowledged and remain standing. I'm going to ask the audience to hold your applause. Let me say that again. I'm going to ask the audience to hold your applause until all the leaders have been introduced. Chancellor Sam Hoggett. Never fails. Dean of the School of Dentistry, Dr. Michael Reddy. Dean of the School of Medicine, Dr. Talmadge King. Dean of the School of Nursing, our newest dean, Dr. Carol Dawson Rose. Dean of the School of Pharmacy, Dr. Kathy Giacomini. Assistant Dean of Diversity and Learner Success in the Graduate Division, Dr. Deanne Duncan. Wow. And the President of the Graduate Division's Alumni Association, Dr. Carla Washington. Please join me in welcoming them. Thank you. I would also like to recognize and welcome two of our bravest in the room today. These hardworking individuals will join Assistant Dean Duncan in presenting the graduates today that are being hooded. What that means is that they have spent hours practicing the calling, the proper calling of their names, and you will hear that shortly. Dr. Christopher Carpenter, Associate Professor of Pediatrics and Director of the Master's Program in Global Health, and Dr. Nancy Street, Interim Associate Dean in the Graduate Division. Thank you. Today we gather to celebrate 366 UCSF finest who will receive their master's and PhDs. 163 of them have joined us today. Allow me to share some facts about these graduates. Now, if you belong to one of the groups I'm about to call, you can just wave your hand in a dignified way. You can choose to stand up and shout and celebrate. Be you. Here we go. About 41% of our graduates are natives of California. 82% are US citizens and permanent residents hailing from 34 states of the Union. 18% are international students representing 32 different countries, including China, Ethiopia, Mexico, Peru, Syria, and Vietnam. "21% are from groups historically marginalized in STEM, and 30% of the graduating class are the first in their families to attain a graduate degree. Last but not least, this year, we have the honor of celebrating the inaugural graduating cohort of the Masters in Health Data Science. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great joy to present to you the UCSF Graduate Division's graduating class of 2024. This group of graduates, as you just heard, quite literally assembled from across the country and indeed across the world, with a diversity of backgrounds, but with one common mission: to advance world health. These graduates began their journey at UCSF with many hats: student, apprentice, researcher, author, mentor, presenter, analyst. Oh, and let's not forget mom, dad, daughter, son, cousin, niece, friend, colleague. Once here, they begin to acquire even more hats. Their studies involve long days, often long nights, in the lab or maybe in the library, countless interviews with research subjects, and tackling vexing problems alongside industry experts. They get to showcase their work at conferences with oral or poster presentations, and if that's not enough, they are asked to write papers and entire books published in some of the top journals and publishing companies. Oh yes, and they often mentor new students and bring science to life for K through 12 students within the community. A few even participate in our Grad Slam. This is where they distill their entire body of their work that they have done here at UCSF down to a 3-minute presentation. A presentation that people without any scientific background can understand. To try to give you an idea of the breadth of the impact of these talented graduates, we asked them to do us a little favor. We asked them to send us information about their publication record, their presentations, and posters, and the work that they've done at UCSF. Only about half of them responded, but it's okay. So as I present these numbers to you, I want you to think about the possibility that the body of work is so much greater than I'm about to share with you. Let's say it's 50% of what? 585 academic publications, first author or otherwise. 195 first author publications. 477 oral presentations, and 417 poster presentations. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the capital of the degree with which they are earning, and they have done an outstanding job. Today, your students get one more cap. The accomplishments of our graduates would not occur without the support, guidance, collaboration, and allyship of our faculty mentors. It is their passion for their discipline, their love for teaching, mentoring, and their tireless oversight of these graduates that made today possible. Would all of our faculty mentors please stand so that we can appreciate you? Thank you. Because of the importance and value of our faculty mentors to the journey of our students, each year at commencement, the Graduate Division Student Government presents the Outstanding Faculty Mentor Award to a faculty who not only instructs, but mentors, inspires, nurtures, and helps students to take the next steps in their careers. It is my pleasure to introduce a graduating student, Zachary Cutts, who is in the Biological and Medical Informatics PhD program, who will present the 2024 Outstanding Faculty Mentor Award on behalf of the Associated Students of the Graduate Division.
All right. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Zachary Cutts, one of the graduates from the BMI program. I'm here to present the Outstanding Faculty Award to Dr. David Quigley. an assistant professor in the Department of Urology. As I'm sure everyone here is aware, graduate school can be difficult at times. But here at UCSF, we are very fortunate to have many great faculty members that act as amazing mentors and guide us along this journey. Today, it gives me immense pleasure and honor to be able to show how much we appreciate one outstanding mentor, Dr. Quigley. Dr. Quigley has impacted the journey of all BMI students through his role moderating the BMI Student Research Talks. When Dr. Quigley got involved with this class 3 years ago, it soon became the highlight of my week. Each week, students present for 20 minutes on their research, and then Dr. Quigley opens the floor for questions. At the end of every presentation, Dr. Quigley always has a thoughtful question prepared. In many cases, that question that he asks helps me to better understand the material that was presented. Additionally, when I have been the presenter, his questions and comments have helped me pursue fruitful new research directions. His input helps students at any stage of their project, from aiding them in thinking about what variables might be confounding in early stages of a project, to helping to frame a complicated research story for publication. I think I can speak for our entire class when I say his encouragement, genuine curiosity, kindness, engagement, and support has been invaluable to each of us on our journeys at UCSF. Dr. Quigley provides an example of the scientist I hope to be one day. So on behalf of the associated students of the Graduate Division, and especially the BMI students, please join me in congratulating Dr. Quigley and thanking him for all he has done to make each of us better scientists. Yeah.
Good morning. I've had an unconventional path to this moment. I graduated in 1998 and I worked as a software developer for various companies for 5 years. I think my work there actually kind of lacked any intrinsic value, except it paid my rent. So I quit my job and I enrolled in a master's program in biomedical informatics at Columbia because I wanted to feel better about my life. I reasoned that if I could pay the bills, by learning things and teaching people, I'd likely be happier. And this turned out to be a good bet. So 2 years later, I returned to San Francisco and was hired as a staff scientist in Alan Balmain's lab. Hi, Alan. Yeah, so Alan studies cancer biology using mouse genetics, and he was the first key mentor in my professional life. Alan exemplifies the curious, tenacious scientist who commits to understanding very difficult fundamental questions, but he's also one of the most decent and generous people I've met. When I needed a PhD to move on with my career, I had 2 very young children to support, and Alan suggested that I enroll at the University of Oslo as a part-time student, and he helped me plan a thesis project that complemented the work that was ongoing in our lab. And he didn't need to do that, but that was the kind of deep support that he gave to his mentees. Just over 3 years later, I had a PhD. Yeah, I could never have done that without Alan's support and guidance. By the way, in Norway, the tradition is that you take your lab and mentors out to dinner after you defend your thesis. Just a thought. I joined the UCSF faculty in urology in 2020 after many years of working as a staff scientist here at UCSF. That transition happened because of a second key mentor, Dr. Felix Feng. Dr. Feng is a radiation oncologist who runs biomarker studies and a target discovery lab. Felix patiently coached me in the transition from being a short-term, single-minded focus on a research question to strategic thinking and social management and entrepreneurship that's required of a new faculty member. Felix spent social and financial capital to help me succeed, and I would not be here if it wasn't for Felix and Alan giving me time and resources far beyond what they needed to give. They share the best qualities of generosity and hard work and optimism. I owe a tremendous debt to the people who lifted me up along the way. You are in this room today because there were people in your lives like Alan and Felix When I talk to a student or a younger staff member, I imagine myself back on the other side of the desk, hearing encouragement, critiques, and questions. Alan and Felix are my models, though they are very different in their approach. Their generosity of spirit did not impede their success at the highest level, and I suspect it was actually a key factor in their personal and career success. So I'm still in the early stages of my life on the faculty. I was touched and surprised to receive this award. When I get to help someone grow their own career, that's the best part of my day at work. It's one of the joys of my life to do something that makes me happy and contributes in some small way to the greater good. So no matter where your career is going, I hope you will find it fulfilling and will help others as you were helped to get there. Congratulations to all of the graduates and their families and their supporters. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you. It is my pleasure to introduce our 2024 commencement speaker, Dr. Anita Sill. Dr. Sill received a bachelor's degree from Harvard University and then a PhD and MD degree right here at UCSF. She's currently professor and chair of the Department of Microbiology and Immunology, as well as co-director of the Integrative Microbiology Program and co-director of the Biomedical Sciences PhD program. In her laboratory, Dr. Sill uses genetics and functional genomics to analyze the basic biology of thermal dimorphic fungal pathogens, as well as their interactions with cells of the innate immune system. Her efforts to bring genomics and molecular genetic analysis to the field have been internationally recognized, resulting in her role as co-chair or chair of numerous international conferences on fungal pathogenesis and microbial pathogenesis. She has been awarded a Boris Wellcome New Investigator Award, an Ellison New Scholar Award, and an Early Career Scientist Award from the Howard Hughes Medical Institute. In 2021, she was awarded the Rhoda Benham Lifetime Achievement Award in Medical Mycology from the Medical Mycology Society of America, and she's a fellow of the American Academy of Microbiology. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sill.
Thank you, Dean Blake, for that very kind introduction. Oh, graduates, family, friends, faculty, Chancellor Hawgood, our deans, Dean Blake, and members of the graduate division, welcome and congratulations. It's an honor to have the opportunity to speak to you today at this milestone that marks the recognition of your tremendous accomplishments, a celebration of your path through graduate school. Today, I'm reminded of the unique nature of your path. We have approximately 8 billion people on the planet, and due to natural variation in genetics and epigenetics, each human being is unique. So this grand diversity represents 8 billion distinct paths through life. So even though you may be earning the same degree as the person sitting next to you, your journey through graduate school was uniquely yours, built on your individual foundation and your past. And that achievement is remarkable. I hope that you all and the people that are important to you in your lives are tremendously proud of what you've accomplished. I also want to recognize the mentors, the friends, the family that have contributed to your journey. So on behalf of the whole UCSF community, we salute your scholarship and we honor your achievements. One of the reasons that your achievements are so significant is that the process of a graduate degree is so much less scripted than the degrees that came before. Certainly there are hoops to jump through in graduate school, but the criteria are sometimes nebulous, and the path to producing a work of independent scholarship is unpredictable. I was reminded of this a week ago when I attended my daughter's second-degree black belt test, which was a regional test including candidates from the whole Pacific Northwest. And after her test, which was physically and mentally demanding, the Grandmaster of her martial arts association told the candidates that no one watching the test would really understand what each candidate had gone through during the past hours, and perhaps no one would even understand why they did it. His words reminded me a lot of graduate school. Just as there are many physical endeavors that are more straightforward than earning a black belt, there are many career paths that are more straightforward and more scripted than earning a master's or a PhD. No one else but you will understand the specifics of what you experienced, the genesis of a hypothesis, the challenging data analysis, the experimental failures, the pure exhilaration of unlocking a mystery. The number of times we all had to explain that we don't know when we will graduate, or when or where, or sometimes even if our work will be published, or even why we care so passionately about that fragment of the research landscape that is ours. Well, it's a nebulous journey in a world that is more accustomed to concrete landmarks. So what's next? I have many hopes for you as you stand here or sit there on the brink of the rest of your lives. I've organized these hopes into 3 sections that I am calling the 3 C's. The first, and perhaps most daunting C, is courage. As you move on from this day, have the courage to challenge yourself so that you continue to grow. Life will naturally throw obstacles at all of us, whether they are physical, conceptual, emotional, or otherwise. And as those challenges appear, I wish you courage, and I hope that you won't feel confined by convention. My father, who with my mother emigrated from India to England and then from England to the US, used to tell me, "Man can do what man has done and what man has not done." No pressure, right? But I've thought about those words a lot over the years. People will tell you you're wrong. They'll tell you that something is impossible. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try. Whatever you take on, put your heart into it. Whatever the outcome, I hope that you find meaning and fulfillment in the process. Courage is hard. When faced with a decision about what to do, about whether to take a risk, I often ask myself, what's the worst possible thing that could happen if I try this, and what would I do in that situation? That perspective has been deeply valuable to me over the years. It's part of the reason, actually, that I didn't pursue medicine, though I am eternally grateful to those who do. I experienced the clinical years of medical training after the adventure of graduate school, and I already knew that I loved being in the lab, and I already knew that medicine wasn't for me. And in all honesty, at this point, I've forgotten or maybe blocked out a lot of medical school, but I remember one specific case vividly. So as a medical student, you're part of a clinical team, and my team had just admitted a patient who was in a hospital room with her husband and son. And about an hour after her admission, my resident on the team and I were sitting in the UCSF Moffitt cafeteria, one of the world's, culinary experiences, when we heard a code blue, which indicates a patient is in need of resuscitation. And we heard that called over the public address system. And we looked at each other because we realized that the room number for the code blue was our patient's room number. So we ran up to the room, but there wasn't anything to be done. Our patient had unexpectedly dropped dead just shortly after her husband and her son had gone home. And upon autopsy later on, it was evident that she had a mycotic aneurysm, which is a dilation of the arterial wall that's due to an infection, in her case with Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which is the bacterium that causes TB. And her aneurysm had ruptured suddenly, and she died. And that experience became a metric by which I measured all other risks in my career, because everything pales in significance compared to someone's life. So it gave me perspective, and it gave me courage. The second C stands for critical thinking. I hope that you will continue the critical thinking you have experienced in your graduate work. It's harder than one thinks to be a critical thinker, to dissect facts objectively and come to a conclusion. It can be lonely, for it's easier to go along with conventional thinking. And indeed, critical thinking means that sometimes you'll have to stand alone. And that's where the first C, the courage, plays a role. The final C is compassion. Have compassion for others. Some people look like they sail through life effortlessly, but it's usually the case that everyone is grappling with something. Whether the challenge is physical, emotional, financial, or other, we all have something. So be kind. A kind word to others goes a long way. But as you navigate this journey, don't forget to be compassionate to yourself. It takes time to know yourself, to understand what's important to you, to appreciate your own strengths and challenges. There's a poem written by Caribbean Nobel laureate Derek Walcott called Love After Love that is about the journey of knowing yourself. He writes, "The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, 'Sit here, eat.' You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life." Today, graduates, I invite you to celebrate your life. Congratulations.
Before we begin the real celebration, I just want to codify the messages you just heard. Courage, critical thinking, compassion. Be a mentor and be mentored. Want that to just permeate in your minds for a minute? And now let's get started. The degrees conferred by the university, thank you, Dr. Singh. The degrees conferred by the University of California attest to scholarly achievement, the traditional result of the university's fulfillment of its primary duty. In the graduate division, the degrees to be conferred today are the Masters of Advanced Study, the Master of Science, and the Doctor of Philosophy. At this time, I'd like to invite our Chancellor Sam Hoggett, to the podium to offer some remarks to all the graduates and confer the master's degree. I have to say a little bit about you. Sam Hoggett is the 10th Chancellor of UCSF, as well as a distinguished pediatrician and scientist. A native of Australia, Sam joined UCSF in 1982 and has served the university in many capacities throughout the years. He became Dean of UCSF's School of Medicine and Vice Chancellor for Medical Affairs in September of 2009 after serving as interim dean. He was appointed Chancellor in 2014. Dr. Hoggett is a member of the American Academy of Pediatrics and was elected in 2010 to the Institute of Medicine, part of the National Academy of Sciences. Please welcome Chancellor Hoggett.
Thank you, Dean Blake. It is a great pleasure for me to be here with you this morning as we mark a terrific milestone in your academic careers and indeed in your lives. Our goal at UCSF has been to train you for a lifetime of imagination, discovery, and learning. We want you to make a difference in the world, and we trust that we have prepared you well for the challenges and the opportunities that you will encounter. In turn, you leave us your legacy, a school that has been enriched by your time with us. I thank each of you for your passion, your determination, your scientific rigor, your hard work, and your empathy, all of which make up the fabric of UCSF. You started down this path in a time of change, preparing you for careers that are sure to be characterized by further changes and challenges, both expected and unforeseen, in the decades to come. Science and healthcare alike have made fantastic progress, even in the short time that you've been with us at UCSF. You have not only witnessed these advances, but you have contributed to them as young scientists and researchers. Your record here shows that you will doggedly advocate for science, for intellectual curiosity, for empathy, and for a healthy and equitable society, no matter what your future role becomes. We cannot predict what the next wave of change will look like, nor what that change will demand of each of us. But what we do know is the future is in your hands now. I look forward with great anticipation to the future that you shape for all of us. So my warmest congratulations to you all. And now let's move on to the task at hand. First, will the candidates for the Master of Advanced Study in Clinical Research and for the Master of Science please stand? The master's degree is awarded to students who complete a well-balanced and unified program of study and research in an academic or professional field and meet university requirements for the degree. Recipients of the degree have mastered the subject field and are prepared for more advanced graduate work, research, or for their professional careers. So, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Regents of the University of California, I confer upon you the degrees of Master of Advanced Study in Clinical Research and Master of Science. My congratulations to you all.
Thank you, Chancellor Hoggett, and please be seated. When your row is called, when you are indicated, please stand and follow the instructions of the person who is leading the field. Doctors, please join me in welcoming now the hardest working people in the room today, Doctors Duncan, Carpenter, and Street, who will present the degree candidates.
First,
The Master of Advanced Study and Clinical Research candidates will be hooded by Program Co-Director Dr. Alexis Beatty. Gabriela Asita Rojas. Saikita Shyam Baskar. Karn Keith Batahay. Hoisin Danny Chu. Maria Duarte. Apposite Kausanet. Morgan O'Connor. Kirthi Ramalingam. Masayuki Teramoto. Justin Teraoka. Aliyah Trong. The Master of Science Biomedical Imaging graduates will be hooded by the Director of Graduate Studies for the Biomedical Imaging Program, Dr. Susan Noworowski. Sivartha Anbu Rajan. Radhika Balarao. Duk Wee Duan. Ton Ran Dong. Chase Fitch. Ellis Main. Joanna Elizabeth Fetish. Tianrun Zhao. The Master of Science Genetic Counseling graduates will be hooded by the Program Director, Cynthia Morgan, Associate Director, Allison Scott, and Research Director, Dr. Julie Harris-Way. Hannah Hansel. Jacqueline Hodgson. Dorothy Lee. Fionn May. Alida Medina. Andrea Moraz. Jessica S. Prettyman. David Q. Cassandra V. Hill. Gabrielle Wright. Jerica Monique Yehuda.
The Master of Science Global Health Sciences graduates will be hooded by Program Director Dr. Chris Carpenter. Fatiad Adekene Adebayo Tijani. Janan Al-Kajah. Ethan Chen. Kristen Fu. Shakiba Gosame. Emily Hammerton. Isabella Jacques. Tan Mei Jadov. Christina Gang. Irene Kunga. Olivia Shea Mendoza. Jemzy Ortiz. Nandita Sachdev. Tia Chenya Zhang. The first cohort of graduates from the Master of Science, Health Data Science program will be hooded by Program Director, Dr. John Kornack. Simran Ajay Kanal. Vishaka Malhotra. Kevin Jung. The Master of Science, Healthcare Administration, and Interprofessional Leadership graduates will be hooded by Program Director, Dr. Catherine Weiss. Mohammed Aleli. Jade Marley Cairns. Michelle Jean Chan. Salvador Chavez Jr. Deidre Elise Medley Koutsompos. Talia Gonzalez. Marixa Etubari Gray. Chandler Ho. Ized Igehan. Farhana Jaffer. Katrina Parshad. Faye Singh Seichow. Cassandra Lynn Hall Valdivia. Cecilia Villar. Robert Weston. Dalton Williams. Iwei Catherine Wu.
The Master of Science, Translational Medicine candidates will be hooded by Faculty Director Shuvo Roy. Ibrahim Abdel Wahab. Janani Balaji. Fien Josephine Dalamans. Ehsan Farjud. Leah Gertner. Amayali Gomez Espinoza. Ryan Granche. Lowry Hiladakis. Mitsuhiro Vincent Joe. Manasi Kumar. Samuel Wamema Muloni. Sheila Okoro Anyanwu. Ziza Philip. Rishik Pengili. Kalista Prananta. Fei Wan Chu. Nitin Reddy. Bita Rizayan. Maxine C. Chu. Francisco Valadez Rojas. Victor Varoki. Hannah Watry. Elisha Yakubu Sanusi. Howard Ying. Katya Zahini Pablo. Cindy Wu.
Starting to have fun now? Yeah, just a little bit. Candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, please rise. The Doctor of Philosophy degree is awarded as the mark of highest achievement in preparation for active scholarship and research. Recipients of the degree have completed a rigorous course of study, demonstrated superior scholarship, and made original contributions to their chosen field of knowledge. This is the highest degree awarded by academic institutions. I will now invite Chancellor Hoggett back to the stage.
By virtue of the authority granted to me by the Regents of the University of California, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Philosophy. My congratulations.
Please be seated again until your row is prompted to approach the stage. The graduate programs at UCSF are highly interdisciplinary. Their faculty hold departmental appointments in all of UCSF's professional schools. Many of our PhD students were mentored by, collaborated with, or did rotations with professors in more than one school. They have formed scientific relationships with these faculty in addition to their dissertation advisors. In the spirit of this partnership, I would like to invite Deans King, Reddy, Dawson Rose, and Giacomini to come forward to join Chancellor Hoggett and myself in congratulating all PhD graduates. Once more, Drs. Duncan, Carpenter, and Street will present the candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy.
First, our PhD candidates in biochemistry and molecular biology. Will the Hooders for biochemistry and molecular biology please come forward to hood your graduates? Dana Renee Cueva Kennedy, hooded by Dr. Deanne Duncan. Harold Marin, hooded by Dr. Abby Buckwalter. Elise N. Munoz, hooded by Dr. Geeta Narlikar. Nia Terry Corpy, hooded by Dr. Jeremy Wilsey.
Bear with me one moment. I apologize. Got it now. Thank you. Now our PhD candidates in bioengineering. Will the Hooders for bioengineering please come forward to hood your graduates? Danny Grebek Xavier, who will be hooded by Dr. Dan Vidron. Nate Tran, who will be hooded by Dr. Dan Vidron. Gabrielle Rabadam, who will be hooded by Dr. Zev Gardner. Shule Shaheen, who will be hooded by Peter Larson. Alice Summer Tang, who will be hooded by Dr. Marina Sirota. Now our PhD candidates in biological and medical informatics. Will the hooders for biological and medical informatics please come forward to hood your graduates? Zachary Cutts, who will be hooded by Dr. Marina Sirota. Miriam Goldman, who will be hooded by Dr. Katie Pollard. Laura Shub, who will be hooded by Dr. Michael Kaiser. Harry Shunwon Sun, who will be hooded by Atul Boot. Matthew Johnson, who will be hooded by Dr. Joseph Bondi Denemy.
Now our PhD candidates in biomedical sciences. Will the hooders for biomedical sciences please come forward to hood your graduates? Aaron Huding, hooded by Joseph Bondi Denemy. Somye Reddy Bolam, hooded by Alan Balmain. Shawan Kirsten Chen, hooded by Isha Jain. Nazim Juhan, hooded by Eric Huang. Ziap Mahmood Johar, hooded by Deanna Duncan. Nicholas Stevers, hooded by Joe Costello. Darwin Kwok, hooded by Hideo Okado and Joseph Costello. Megan Montoya, hooded by Hideo Okada and Noriyuki Kasahara. Tara McIntyre, hooded by Adrian Erlbacher. Priscilla Munoz Sandoval, hooded by Mark Ansel. Ramiro Patino Jr., hooded by Joanne Engel. Gokul Ramadas, hooded by Bruce Conklin. Matthew James Ryan, hooded by Rohit Bose. Donovan Trinidad, hooded by James Frazier and Willow Coyote Maestas. Bahar Zarek, hooded by Hani Godzari.
Now, our PhD candidate in biophysics. Will the hooder for biophysics please come forward to hood your graduate? Christina Alexandra Stevens, hooded by Michael Grabe. Now, our PhD candidates in cell biology. Will the hooders for cell biology please come forward to hood your graduates? Gabriela Isla Inez Canales, hooded by Dr. Jeremy Ryder. Tim Casey Clyde, hooded by Dr. Jeremy Ryder. Oh, by Dr. David Raleigh. Jason Q. Garcia, hooded by Dr. David Raleigh. Now, our PhD candidates in chemistry and chemical biology. Will the hooders for chemistry and chemical biology please come forward to hood your graduates? David Larwood, hooded by Dr. Bill DeGrado and Dr. Frank Zoka. Leticia Serra, hooded by Dr. Denitsa Fujimori. Wen Chi Shin, hooded by Dr. Kevan Shokat. Min Tran, hooded by Dr. Ian Seipel. Now, our PhD candidates in developmental and stem cell biology. Will the hooders for developmental and stem cell biology please come forward to hood your graduates? Emily Bolger, hooded by Dr. Benoit Bruno. Brandon Hugh Chacon, hooded by Dean Nikkei Blake. Nicholas Elder, hooded by Dr. Faranak Fatahi. Matthew Keefe, hooded by Dr. Faranak Fatahi. Ziling Zhao, hooded by Dr. Takashi Mikawa. Now, our PhD candidates in epidemiology and translational science. Will the hooders for epidemiology and translational science please come forward to hood your graduates? Kristen Marie Jadalrub Azar, hooded by Dr. Mark Fletcher. Jean Digitale, hooded by Dr. Mark Pletcher. Sarah Rafeman, hooded by Dr. Mark Pletcher. Akansha Batra, hooded by Dean Nikkei Blake. Marta San Luciano Palenzuela, hooded by Dean Nikkei Blake. Alice Guan, hooded by Dr. Scarlett Lynn Gomez. Yusuf Mavora, hooded by Dr. Neil Risch. Eduardo Rodriguez Almaraz, hooded by Dr. Suzanne Chang.
Now, our PhD candidate in Global Health Sciences. Will the hooder for Global Health Sciences please come forward to hood your graduate? Mohammed Bailar Bahari, who will be hooded by Dr. Elizabeth Fair. Now, our PhD candidates in medical anthropology. Will the hooders for medical anthropology, you're already here, please come forward to hood your graduate? Shada Michelle Abawi, who will be hooded by Dr. Kelly Knight. Cara Zamora, who will be hooded by Dr. Kelly Knight. Now, our PhD candidate in neuroscience. Will the hooder for neuroscience please come forward to hood your graduate? Mark Lawrence Turner, who will be hooded by Dr. Vikas Sohal. Now, our PhD candidate in oral and craniofacial sciences. Will the hooder for oral and craniofacial sciences please come forward to hood your graduate? Sean Thomas Ganther, who will be hooded by Dr. Nikkei Blake. Now, our PhD candidates in pharmaceutical sciences and pharmacogenomics. Will the hooders for PSPG please come forward to hood your graduates? Oh. I'm loving it. You're already ready to go. Okay. Colin Germer, who will be hooded by Dr. Aparna Lakaruji. Nilsa Lacunza, who will be hooded by Dr. Aparna Lakaruju. Zachary Hoisington, who will be hooded by Dr. Dorit Ron. Yachao Lee, who will be hooded by Dr. Marina Sirota. Shuja Zhou, who will be hooded by Dr. Kathy Giacomini. Now, our PhD candidate in rehabilitation science. Will the hooder for rehabilitation science please come forward to hood your graduate? Jessica Erin Bath, who will be hooded by Dr. Doris Wang. Now, our PhD candidates in sociology. Will the hooders for sociology please come forward to hood your graduates? Charles Howard Clonaker III, who will be hooded by Sherry L. Dwarkin. Jeff Nicholas, who will be hooded by Dr. Janet Shim. Erin Rebecca Johnson, who will be hooded by Dr. Kristen Hartnett. And last, and certainly not least, she had to hear everybody else's name, so I need y'all to give it up for Brittany Lynn Pond, who is going to be hooded by Dr. Kristen Hartnett.
Thank you, Doctors Carpenter, Street, and Duncan, for the phenomenal job of introducing our candidates. All right, we're nearing the end. Nearing. But no commencement would be complete without two very important acts. So graduates, I'd like you all to stand. Thank you. Now, I'd like you to turn around and face your village. Yes, Yes. Now, I just want you to know that you are messing up my script. All right, graduates, with as much gusto as you can muster, please show your appreciation to those who have been such important part of your journey. Graduates, that's you. Show your appreciation. All right, all right. You may now be seated. You will be encompassed in the glory and the adoration in a few minutes. Hang tight. Few reminders, just as we wrap up. When you share your photos today of today's event on social media, please use the hashtag UCSFGrads so that we can all enjoy them. On behalf of Carla Washington, the president of the Graduate Division Alumni Association, who joined us today, we encourage you to be an active participant in the UCSF Graduate Division's Alumni Association. Of course, there's no celebration without a gift. So, thanks to the Alumni Association for donating gifts for all our graduates, which you will receive as you exit. So don't forget to pick up your gift. All right. Finally, this day would not happen without really the Herculean efforts of a massive number of people. I'm just going to call a few of them out here today. The San Francisco Brass Quintet, which you have heard playing beautifully today. The staff and crew of the Herbst Theater, all of UCSF's volunteer staff who are working the event today, graduation for this year started about a week after graduation from last year, and the people that have really been engaged in this effort join me in helping to thank them. The Graduate Division and Student Academic Affairs Central Comms team, the Graduate Division staff members, UTSF, when you go back to look at this, all your friends and family are looking at live stream. These are our ETS guy, Education Technology Services guys. And then we have an events company, Leftwich, that helped us to coordinate the events. Thank you. All the graduates know them, but I'm going to give a special call out to Eric and to Melissa, who you all know because they have been bugging you and bugging you and bugging you. You know that 50%? Yep. So just a big shout out. Please, graduates, help me thank Eric and Melissa and the comms team for all the hard work they've done in getting you there. Okay, just one last word from me. Your fields are evolving rapidly, nothing quite like watching an evolution. AI is changing both medicine and law, and right on cue, each of you are the leaders that will shepherd us through this evolution. We need your leadership. We need your advocacy. We need your creativity. We need your solutions, but most of all, we need your integrity, your compassion, and your joy. Thank you, each and every one of you, for making UCSF a brighter place while you were here. Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2024. Family and friends, I'm going to ask that you remain seated while the platform party and the graduates file out, and then you can join them in the foyer for pictures and a good time thereafter. Thank you all for joining us today.
Yeah, let's do it again. Okay, so go back to the dogfight at 74. We're taking pick up 74. 1, 2, 1.
Still didn't make it. Oh, good. Because they're not in gowns and they have flowers.